From JBS Studios in Greater New York, this is the JBS News Update with Teisha Bader.
I'm Teisha Bader with the JBS News Update for Wednesday, May the 14th, 2025. Red alert sirens sounded in Jerusalem and other areas in Israel once again early this morning after a ballistic missile was fired from Yemen, presumably by the Houthis. The IDF said the missile was intercepted and no injuries were reported. Earlier today, the IDF said it hit a Hezbollah terrorist in Lebanon who served as a commander in the terror organization. And in Gaza, more now on the airstrike yesterday there on a compound underneath a hospital used by terror group Hamas to operate against Israel. Among the terrorists who were eliminated in the IDF airstrike yesterday, the IDF said one who participated in the brutal October 7th massacre under the guise of a journalist and owner of a news network, saying during the massacre he documented acts of murder, looting, and arson, posting the footage online. Today, the IDF issued an evacuation warning for Palestinians in several schools and a hospital in Gaza City after the IDF said it revealed new intelligence indicating continued terrorist activity by Hamas from within and near civilian infrastructure in the Gaza Strip, including hospitals, educational institutions, and other civilian compounds. The IDF saying due to the Hamas terrorist organization exploiting civilian areas for terrorist activity, the IDF will hit the area, saying for your safety, evacuate the area immediately. Turning now to President Trump's visit to the Gulf, where he met today in Riyadh with Saudi Crown Prince Mohammed bin Salman and Syria's interim president Ahmed al-Sharaa, reportedly telling him that the U.S. would lift sanctions on Syria. Trump also spoke at the Gulf Cooperation Council meeting in Riyadh, where he congratulated the United Arab Emirates and Bahrain for signing the historic Abraham Accords, saying, "I hope that in the near future we can continue that progress," referring to countries like Saudi Arabia and Syria also potentially normalizing ties with Israel. The president then flew to Qatar and met in Doha with Emir Sheikh Tamim bin Hamad Al Thani, where he signed a number of agreements. The Times of Israel cited Trump telling the press aboard Air Force One earlier that this is good for Israel. Having a relationship like I have with these countries, I think it's very good for Israel. Israel's negotiating team flew to Doha yesterday for talks aimed at reaching an agreement that would see the release of the hostages still held by terror group Hamas in Gaza. Israeli Prime Minister Benjamin Netanyahu wrote on social media today that he held a series of lengthy discussions with the U.S. President's special envoy to the Middle East, Steve Witkoff, today, and with the negotiating team on the issue of the hostages and the missing. The 58 hostages still held by terror group Hamas in Gaza have now been captive for 586 days. Last night, Netanyahu met with visiting German President Frank-Walter Steinmeier in Jerusalem after Israel's President Isaac Herzog visited Steinmeier in Germany. Herzog and Steinmeier now in Israel. The two today visited Kibbutz Be'eri, where Herzog and Steinmeier presented plans for a new art gallery and planted a tree together at the site, marking their second joint visit to the community since it was brutally attacked on October the 7th. Taking a look now at our programming for tonight on JBS for Wednesday, May the 14th at 7 o'clock. David Harris speaks with peace activist, human rights advocate, and Middle East scholar Dalia Ziada, returning to discuss Egypt's attempts to revoke her citizenship over her support for Israel since October the 7th, and more. At 7:30, filmmaker Ilana Trachtman talks about her documentary about a small but pivotal chapter in the civil rights movement. At 8, Rabbi Elliot Cosgrove and Rabbi David Wolpe discuss the Jewish landscape post-October the 7th. At 9, David Dalen is on L'chaim. At 10:30, it's an encore of the news. And coming up next, it's Thinking Out Loud. And that's the JBS News Update for Wednesday, May the 14th, 2025. I'm Teisha Bader. Am Yisrael Chai.